Hey, welcome to my channel where I talk about my dolls, and that's literally it. And in this video, I'm going to be sharing my 5 favorite things about collecting American Girl. It's my first video of 2025 and the 100th video of my channel, so I figured something light and fun was in order. I could probably go on and on. To narrow it down to 5 was a little bit hard, so if it seems like I'm ever making one or combining 2 things into one, it's not on purpose. It just would happen to happen when I'm talking about my dolls. And I think it's a good way, a good way to go into the new year, starting something positive. And then who knows, maybe after that, I'll go into the dark things. But for now, let me start with, even though I'm going in no particular order, I'm going to start with my most favorite thing about American Girl. It's not just the thing that got me into the American Girl in the first place. Even to this day, it's my favorite thing. It's just too bad I've run out of space to buy more. And it's the American Girl Playsets. I'm going to show one that's probably a little bit big to fit on camera, but I haven't really talked about this one yet, and it's a very fun set. And this is one of the times I feel like I'm talking about 2 things at once, but they are really two different. It is one thing, because my favorite thing about collecting anything is displaying, and these play sets, which I call display sets, are the best thing about American Girl to me. Even if you don't collect American Girl, I feel like you could incorporate this into another kind of collection, which is what I did in the beginning of collecting these things. And a funny side note about displaying being like my favorite thing about collecting is my channel name and my handle on Instagram is DisBlaine, which is using Disney as a prefix to my name Blaine. But before I explained that on here a couple times, people thought that DisBlaine was like a play on or a pun for displaying, which because I'm always talking about my displays in here, which is it's a fun coincidence that happened, because even if I don't collect Disney, I will always care about my displays, and I didn't mean to go on this long about that. But yeah, if you want to see my handle or channel as displaying, as in like it sounds like displaying, that's even better than Disney, because I'm not always talking about Disney on here. But anyway, back to the display sets being the perfect thing to display. And they also are fun to play with. There's another piece to this set. I don't know if I'll be able to talk them both at the same time. The thing about this set, though, that I should say first is, because I do want to share some of the pieces to show how dynamic these play sets are, and why, even if you don't display them, they're a lot of fun to play with. The thing about this set, though, this is the not the current Truly Me kitchen set, but it's the previous one that's now no longer on the site. I don't know when it came out, a few years ago though, but I bought it secondhand. I got a really great deal on it because I was buying other things from the local seller. And so I can't guarantee that it's complete. I don't even know if I said that yet, but that's why I'm saying all this. It has a lot of pieces, a lot of fun pieces, but some of them I might have added myself. And so if I was ever going to sell this off for whatever reason, I would have to take a stock or take stock of what may be missing. So I haven't even shown you the best part, which is all these other little pieces that you could put on display in here. And something that's really funny, because to me, I only display them. I don't ever really touch them or handle them. As I was setting up for this, let's call it a segment, I realized there was an on and off switch back here, which means it's got function to it that I really didn't know. So turns out this oven has a light, and I don't know if you're going to be able to hear the sounds it makes. I guess it's a timer going off, and do I have too many lights going up? Yeah, that's that's what I'm saying. The sets are so much fun that you don't even always realize everything that comes with it. But to make that stop, I'm gonna, because the other sounds for this particular set, let me turn it back on, is if you press the buttons here. I'm hoping the microphone's picking up some of the sounds. So it's like water first, and I think that's supposed to sound like ice. And I should have known that it does stuff, because why else would these buttons exist? But anyway, what I do, and I'll show you after the way these are on display in my collection, because I like to show off as much as I can about a play set. Oh, I probably destroyed everything as I was trying to open the door. But as you see, it comes with a lot of stuff, and if it didn't come with everything that you see in here, at least these things are from the American Girl world. And so usually in these kitcheny things, you'll have a lot of things like play food. And again, I don't know if this came with it, or if there's food missing, or what all these things necessarily are, but they look really cute on display. It's making some weird I keep hitting it. And what else is in here? So yeah, usually I would put these up and have what looks like a tableau, or what do I call it, a diorama. And so the dolls that I put on display with it will be interacting with it in some way that's forever frozen in time. And I mean, I could just go on and on about. Do I have anything up here? Nope. I'm looking at the monitor, by the way. And so this particular kitchen set comes with like all these things that turn your, if you display like I do, it just, you create this like little mini world that you can just stare into all the time if you're me, because so many wonderful pieces, and I'm hoping the camera's picking up all of them, that I don't have to pull it over. And this is supposed to be bacon. When I look inside the pot though, it looks disgusting, whatever it is. And I hate bacon, but that's not why I think it looks disgusting. It just looks funny inside the tray, or the pot. But I don't want to make too much of a mess because I do want to put this back, and I want to show you the other side of this kitchen set. And everything is, you know, the drawer is always open. What is this? Is that an ice cream tray? I don't know, but it's sitting in the drawer. Like I said, there's so many things involved that I don't even know everything that's in there. And what else? Yeah, so I'll show you after who is on display with this and how she's on display. Oh, forgot the peanut butter. And I don't normally put peanut butter in the fridge unless it's like almond butter. Usually I have this plate open, and it's really hard to open, so, but I just don't want to make a mess. I'm putting it back inside. That sounds like I made a mess. And so moving on to this side of the kitchen set, as you can see, there are all these little pieces, and I'm looking up at Angelo's Bakery because it has kind of similar pieces, so a lot of the things would get recycled anyway, which is why I don't feel bad about moving things around. And I know that some pieces were missing from this because there were no plates, so I had to take like a plate from, I'm just jumping all over the place because I'm really excited to show this set after all this time. I just took a plate from the camp set. And as you can see, they just, honestly, they come with so many little details, and I don't think this does anything, but there's a fake button here. And this has come with other sets too, so that's why you've probably already seen it many times. And so to show you how I kind of set it up in front of the camera first. So this doll, she's a Truly Me 111, I believe, with a different wig. So she's wearing the apron that comes with this set. And so the way these play sets are so dynamic is, you know, he just opens up so she can hold on to the, again, I'll show you better in a minute. So she can hold on to the faucet with one hand and a plate in the other. And this is kind of how I function as a collector. So I have her on display as if she's washing the dishes, the poor thing. But she's that kind of character. She doesn't mind. She's a very helpful person who's really particular and wants to keep everything in order. So that's, maybe I assigned her that personality because she's the one stuck washing the dishes forever, perpetual dishwasher. And yeah, I think I didn't have much else to say because a lot of it is self-explanatory, which means I'm probably over-explaining, but that's nothing new for me on here. And yeah, so in case you missed anything, I'll just turn it around because there's more drawer space. But trust me, I try to put as much on, like, make as much visible as possible because that's how I enjoy it. I want to see as much of my collection as I possibly can. And so now let me put this back up in my display so that I can show you how I live. I'm glad I was able to get both these pieces side by side in my display because it makes it look a little cohesive, I think. I think normally you would have an island in front of a fridge, but I don't think being to the side is too far off. So I've got Leah in here as if she's come down to get a drink of water in the middle of the night. That's why she's in her PJs. Or it's just a slumber party, actually. That's could make more sense because why is poor Hannah over here washing the dishes if it's the middle of the night? But maybe they're two different scenes, whatever. And so some of the pieces that fell over while I was recording are back there. So if you need to see anything better close up, pretty full fridge, but not much nourishment, just a little bit of fruit and condiments. And then over here, we got, like I said, Hannah washing the dishes. And I have shown my entire room on here before. Most of you might have seen it. And it's had a lot of changes since. So an update to that will be coming soon. So let me move on to my next favorite thing. The next feature I want to mention as one of my favorite elements is probably going to make some of you roll your eyes or shudder or never talk to me again, but please hear me out. The next thing I love about collecting American Girl is the diversity. And I know we're always asking for more diversity, and we should have more diversity. You can never be diverse enough, whatever your interpretation of that word is. But to collect a line of dolls that already has, 13 face molds, so many different eye colors and skin tones and wigs, it makes the possibilities seem endless. So I'm going to talk about a few of the dolls, a few of the examples of things that make a doll, diverse or unique or different or whatever however you see the word diverse. Even though there's an arrangement, an assortment of dolls behind me that represent that, I still want to talk about certain things, specific things. And so just moving on to talk about molds to begin with. well, there are a couple elements to Isabel being unique and showing, a wide range of what American Girl offers. So this is a pretty recent mold. It's the Joss mold, which is to me one of my favorites. It's my second favorite mold. But if you look at, because a lot of the times dolls love to have really long hair, and American Girl's very guilty of it, but she has considerably short hair, a very, very straight wig, and I'm just going to show her up close because she has these bright green decal eyes, which are so beautiful and stunning, and they don't do them. In my opinion, I think they don't feature them enough, and maybe it is to keep them unique and make them stand out when they do a doll who has them. Because what I already mentioned is they have quite an arrangement. Sorry, I keep saying arrangement, assortment of eye colors, and not just the colors, but the style of eye. So there's the pinwheel, and then these are the decal. Decal to me is a lot prettier. It's a lot more detailed, and so far there's been no, as far as I've heard, any evidence of the eyes silvering or the color, like the decal slipping or anything like that, like what happens with the pinwheel eyes. And again, look at all that detail. I'm not saying they look real, because this is a really cartoony green, but they're still so pretty. And this is a very pretty doll, even though, she may not be to your aesthetic. She's not really to my personal taste either, but she's still a very pretty doll. And another thing I need to talk about when it comes to different types of wigs and molds and stuff like that is I've collected a lot of dolls, and even dolls that are dolls of color, are POC dolls. And before American Girl, I had never seen a doll with textured hair. But these wigs, and I chose Melody because she actually has a really nice texture to her hair, and I think it's really visible on camera. And for whatever reason, I used to collect Integrity Toys. I used to have hundreds. And that's a black owned doll company that kind of specializes in diverse dolls. So dolls of all color, not just POC dolls, a lot of white dolls, a lot of, black dolls, dolls from all around the world. And none of the hair they ever used was textured. So it's like I didn't even know it existed until I got into American Girl, and it just made me wonder why don't more dolls have textured hair? So I think, in a line of dolls that we often say should be more diverse, there is, like, to me, this, and maybe I just have been living under a rock when it comes to this specific element. I've never seen that, so I think that's a really great thing, and I honestly just wish we could see more hair like that. It's so soft, and it's very like fluffy and luxurious, and it really represents this particular doll, who's meant to be a black character from the 1960s. The way they got the flip, and some of that is doing it yourself because it will lose its flip, but the fact that you can style it that way is also amazing. And again, another sculpt. I'm not going to show every sculpt or every mold, but the two so far, and again, the ones behind me. And another doll I want to show again, another unique wig, unique eye color, is Caroline. So she's so far is the only one with these aqua decal eyes, and it's such a beautiful color. She's got these beautiful curls on this blonde, soft curly wig. She's the classic mold, so the original, another mold, and all the ones I'm going to talk about are a different mold. But as you can see, look at all the details in her eyes. Is she close enough? I hope she's close enough. And it would be great if we could see it again, but I can imagine they want to keep it exclusive to Caroline. And so I just think, like, even though, blonde and blue-eyed dolls, we have seen a lot of them throughout the years, and they were almost forced down our throats. If you grew up in the 1980s, most dolls looked kind of like Caroline. But she still is an interesting take on that kind of doll. And I feel like they did their best to make her not just appealing, because she's got the pink but even the green really offsets the pink nicely to me. And again, like, I think that's why I like her so much too, is because she's got a really unique color palette as far as what I've ever collected. So maybe again, this is common and I'm just the one living under a rock. But same as Isabel, she's not my preferred aesthetic of doll, but she is so beautiful and unique somehow at the same time. And then the last doll I want to talk about, as far as the whole, variation and assortment of dolls, is the original Corinne. So Corinne herself, because not only is she a unique sculpt with bigger eyes, I don't know if I can get her close enough because of her skis. Let me just bring her up though. So she's again another doll who they made very unique. She still fits into the American Girl world. I would say she's an East Asian sculpt because she's sculpted for a Chinese character, but now they've used her for Moana, which again, to me, it just features more diversity. And I also wanted to bring her up because we have lots of wigs with unique colors, and for her to have these, what would you call it? They're not frosted tips. That was a thing in the early 2000s, but they're just colored at the ends, which I think is a really unique thing. We have American Girl, we the collectors, have wigs with all one color, one solid color. But Corinne was a really great addition to, in my opinion, to the line because she has such a unique color palette with her outfits and the wig itself. It's the way the black contrasts against this aqua tealish color. It just is really stunning and really striking when you look at her in your collection. She stands out, and to me, in a good way. And again, a beautiful sculpt. All these dolls are pretty in their own way, and they're all, to me, so unique. And so I just feel like, yes, diversity, we always need more. And diversity doesn't just mean hair color and skin color. It means just different types of characters, which, yes, they have to go with what sells, as they say. But, if I think, now I'm actually making it sound like I don't love the diversity. But I think when it comes to diversity, anything that doesn't sell, I can't help but feel it's because it's not really pushed enough. If they're going to push the Millennium Twins a year after Claudie comes out instead of pushing Claudie, then maybe that is where the problem comes in with diversity. But the diversity is still there, and it is up to us as collectors to support it. And I can't help but support the things I love. So for me, it's all there. I just have to not look for it, but it's there if I want it, it's there. So let me put it that way. And that was pretty quick. I hope I didn't talk about it too much. I could talk about that for a really long time, and maybe one day I will just specifically talk about diversity and American Girl and dolls in general and why it matters and where it exists and things like that. But for this, what's supposed to be a fun, light, kind of quick video, I probably talked longer than I need to. So let me get to my next favorite thing. Even though this next element is very different from the last one, it does bleed off from it in certain ways. And it's also similar to DisBlaine in the sense that anything I collect, the more I love it, the more I want to personalize it and customize it. And what is so brilliant for me as an American Girl collector and customizer is these are the easiest things to customize once you build up let's say the courage to do it the first time and, let your fingers rest in between doing customs. And the reason I said it bleeds in from the last point about diversity is I said the possibilities were endless, and it's even more so the case with customizing your dolls because you can swap wigs and eyes between as many characters you want. And another thing you can do, the first custom I'm going to show is my first custom I made. They didn't have a wig like it, but luckily there are people out there who make wigs that can fill in any gaps that really shouldn't exist. For example, having a doll with an afro, a short curly wig. I bought this off of Etsy from a seller named B Beauty Design, and it's still on there. So if anybody was ever interested in buying a cute afro and they think this one would suit their collection, this is a good one. And like talking about customs, I'm not going to get too much into it, but because I am going to do a total tutorial one day because I'm always sneaking tutorials into other videos, like unboxing videos, and people are always saying, can you do a tutorial? I'm like, actually I did, but I didn't do it correctly. So one day soon, I'm going to do a proper tutorial about everything wig swapping, eye swapping, and all that stuff. Because what I have to say, the first thing I was brave enough to do, and it was scary, was doing a wig swap. It was like I needed to have this particular character. I had this vision for a character in Julie's world. Pretty obvious that's where she's from. And I couldn't take it anymore. There was no doll released with an afro, but I saw that on Etsy there were people who made doll wig afros for 18-inch dolls. So that's where I'm saying, so it makes me sound like the diversity is lacking. And in some ways, I don't know why they wouldn't make a wig like this because the 77 wig is just a shorter version of it. And I know they always hair play, but hair play is also, getting it like looking nice and then putting it up on a shelf for some of us. So to me, that was the best thing about customizing American Girl is you don't have to have painting skills. You can do more to them if you want, but all you have to do is swap their eyes and wigs, which is, I think anybody could do it, again, if they have the bravery and the finger strength or the time in between to let their fingers and thumbs heal. But I do think you don't have to have, maybe you have to have an artistic eye or a curiosity about putting certain color combinations together, but really I think anybody could do it. And I've even done customizing with paint that involved paint, and it was scary. And if you messed it up, it ruined your whole day. It ruined your week. So with these, I just love the fact that you can do so much customizing with American Girl dolls and like relatively easy. And so it beyond just changing their wigs and their eyes, people also make clothes that if you want to make a certain character, for example, and this is a custom as in he has a different wig. He has a wig and eye swap with other dolls, but he also has an outfit that was made on Etsy. And obviously with the way he's dressed and the way he looks, I wanted to make an Indian male character. Like you could really, some dolls are racially ambiguous, especially in the Truly Me line. So you could give them whatever you want their story to be, but I wanted him to look a little bit more, I don't know if obvious is the right word, but I just specific. I wanted him to look more specific. So I was able to give him 75's wig, and I don't remember whose eyes he has because they're just the dark brown eyes that come with a lot of dolls have this eye color. And so this kind of doll didn't exist. But again, you know, you can either, if you make clothes yourself, I mean, that's not anybody, that doesn't really apply as a good thing about American Girl because they don't come with patterns or anything. But you can at least find people who make costumes or outfits, clothes for any kind of doll that doesn't exist that you would want it to. And so that is another thing. It's like you can take a doll, have this entire vision in your head, and because of what I said before with the diversity that already exists, different skin tones, face sculpts, wigs, eyes, if you have the wherewithal to do all the switching yourself and the vision, you can do pretty much anything you want. And I mean, within reason, I don't know. You could also dye your doll's skin too if you're brave enough. I've done that in the past, dyeing vinyl, and I've seen people doing amazing Alphaba customs by doing that. And so that's another option, which I haven't done, and I don't really have an interest to have I don't know if I should say non-human skin tone, but a fantasy skin tone. That's what I should say. I don't have a desire for any fantasy skin tone dolls at this point in my collecting career, but it is possible, you know, if you are comfortable. And I, again, have done it with other dolls. I don't know if I said that already. I've done it with other dolls using the RIT fabric dye, and sometimes it's very unpredictable. And they have cloth bodies with vinyl bodies, so that's why I'm not too ecstatic to do it because you just don't know how it's going to go. But you know, everything's trial and error. And here's one last custom just to show you another simple one, because this is a doll who has a handmade wig, and then this is a doll, it's just Tiana. So it's a simple wig swap. It's the Tiana doll with the Lila wig, and you know, it makes such a difference just to do something as simple as a wig swap. To me, she's not just beautiful, but she's almost unrecognizable as Tiana. And this is coming from the person who put this together. So again, there are so many possibilities with customizing your American Girl dolls, and I've shared so many on here that I can definitely attest that I don't even know how many customs I have. But behind me, out of the 12 dolls behind me, 8 of them are custom. So if you've been looking throughout the video, it's only, so what does that mean? 8 out of 12, 66% of the dolls behind me are custom. So clearly I like to do it, and that's definitely one of the things I love about American Girl. So now let me get to the next feature. This one isn't just a smart business model. It's also it's one that keeps your attention if you have a pretty short attention span like I do, like you're always wanting more. Another thing I love about collecting American Girl is there are so many ways to collect. You don't have to collect everything, but you can. But if not, you can choose, for example, their historical line. And I'm showing a Be Forever doll, which some people may not consider her historical. She's like Be Forever historical, not the same thing. So if you just care about historical dolls, that's all you need to collect, and that's one thing for you, and you don't have to worry about all the other lines, which I'll share a little bit of each as I'm talking about this. So you can just focus on one thing, or you can focus on one doll. Like if you just love Addie or you just love Samantha, you can just focus on that one collection, and that works for some people. Or you can do a little bit of everything, which is, I'm one of those people. And so I just feel like it keeps me going. You know, it keeps me wanting more because there is more, in the sense of I can have a historical section over here, or I can have like a Truly Me section. So here's another aspect of collecting is you can collect Truly Me dolls and modernize them. You could put them in other doll lines, clothes. If I showed a handmade outfit in the last segment, but you can also, this is an example of collecting or putting a doll in a Maple Lee outfit. So if you like the quality or prefer the quality of Maple Lee, it still fits your American Girl doll, and you can just choose whatever personality or style you want for that doll. He's a little bit of a custom too, but he's not complete, so that's why I wanted to include him in this segment. And you can also, of course, collect the Girl of the Year dolls, and this is the most recent Girl of the Year doll I have. That's Lila. And when it comes to the Girl of the Year collecting, You probably want several because they only are released. So they feel almost like a limited edition in a sense because they're only released for a year. Well, they say a year, the girl of the year, but it's usually like girl of the 3 years because I think you could still get Corinne up until pretty recently. If she's even still on the site, she might be. But Covey is for sure still on the site, and Summer is out now. So it's the girl of the few years, however long they decide to keep producing her for. And I think that is also another fun element. It's being able to pick your style, like choose your own adventure as a collector. And then recently they introduced a new version of collecting, and that's Disney princess dolls. So if you're a Disney princess or Disney fan, you can now collect American Girl, just the Disney princess side. That's so when I said about customizing and possibilities being endless, there are a lot of possibilities with the different lines that American Girl offers as well. And again, not everyone has to be like me, wanting a little bit of everything or a lot of everything, but the option is there. And I think it satisfies my my excessive need as a collector, and relating everything together. It allows me to set up different displays. It allows me to customize dolls, personalize dolls, because I don't necessarily want them all to be Disney princesses, but then they make them unique, the Disney princesses, so it makes you want them all. And I think it's got that like that Pokemon feeling of like, got to catch them all, and you don't have to catch them all. Don't get me wrong. Like I don't want every single doll, but I do want a little bit of everything, and I love the fact that there's so much variation and so much of an assortment, as I've been saying a lot in this video now. So that was luckily a quick one. I don't even know what number I'm at. I might be almost done. I might be down to the last one. So let me double check and I'll be back in a second. My last element that I love, it has some ties to customizing in the sense that you're making a personal connection with your doll. You're taking them in and you're doing something to make them better. And I love seeing a doll that is old and pretty rough shape, but I see the potential and I know that I can restore the doll. So like an example, I'm going to show you a quick, I'm not going to do the example, but if you see a doll who is kind of old and just needs a little cleanup, something easy as just brushing out the hair, giving it a little spritz with water, and taking a magic eraser to the vinyl to just bring everything back to life, because these dolls are up to what is it, like 30? Are they almost 40 years old? I guess almost 40 years old now. So some of them might be really old and have been in a toy box or whatever. And so you can take a doll like this doll, for example. She's a good example because when I saw the pictures of her listed on a Facebook group in Canada where I live, I could just see she was gorgeous, and there was another person interested, but she kept asking so many questions about the condition she was in. And I was like, do you know how easy she is to clean up? You just need a magic eraser. She's going to be perfect. And so once enough time had passed and she wasn't pouncing, I was like, I'm interested. Let me buy this doll. And so the seller was even, kind of, I don't know, priming me to see that the doll was old and trying to say, just so you're aware, she's not going to be in perfect condition. I was like, yes, she is. She's going to be in perfect condition after I got my hands on her. And I just love it. It's, first of all, they're selling it. They're usually going to sell, that's the thing. As long as they're selling it for a price that reflects their condition, and they're not saying to you that, well, she has the potential to be perfect, so I'm going to sell her for top dollar, even though you're going to have to do the work. So in that sense, I would never go for a doll like that. But when someone is selling a doll that you see the potential and it's in a great price, one thing I haven't done yet, and I will talk about it a little bit more maybe later, is I haven't learned to restring yet. And this doll needs to be she needs a little restringing action. So that's why she's falling forward is what I'm saying, because she's on a doll stand to help her get through this video. But anyway, this is one of my, I would say, favorite turnarounds, just because the seller was so worried about her condition because another interested buyer was making her feel intimidated, making her feel like there was something wrong with this doll, even though I'm restoring biased here, but I just think she looks so sweet and so flawless, as flawless as a 40-year-old doll can look, 35. Then yeah, I saw her potential, and so luckily they were selling her for a good price, and I was so excited and so eager, which is opposite of the next doll I'm going to share. It's a doll who the seller didn't sell her for the most amazing price considering the condition she was, but she the doll in the listing, and I've talked about this so many times, but I just have to like explain the difference between that doll and this doll. This doll devastated me when I got her because the one in the ad didn't need any restoring. She was an old Felicity with such a sweet face. I don't think I'll ever see a Felicity with such a sweet face again, but I do love my Felicity now, and this is where this all ties together. When I got her home, the third, like my third Felicity doll from this seller, because she kept tricking, or I would say tricking me, bait and switch. And I did a whole video about it a long time ago. So when I got her, you can look for the catfishing experience video if you're really that curious. It's a long story, so Spark Notes. The doll was in horrible condition. I was not expecting it. I gave up after the third doll and was like, I've already given her the money. Let me just take this doll and see what I can do. But her wig was fried. Her face had no color. Her skin, that's creepy. She had no blushing, no lip color. And these are the things the doll had in that picture. Perfect wig, beautiful face, pretty flawless makeup, I guess you could say, for how old the doll was. And the old squishy body, because she's a Pleasant Company doll. So I made a really sad video about how I love my doll, and I'm okay with it. It's like my sadness was just coming out, even though I was trying to be very positive. But then, people took pity on me and gave me some tips, and somebody even sent me a beautiful Felicity wig, and she was apologetic about it as if she didn't realize how perfect it was, or I don't know, maybe my standards had dropped so much, my expectations, because of the wig that she had. So this is one of those dolls where I now feel like she's like a rescue doll. And my first time, no, the first Pleasant Company doll I got, I needed a little restoring, a little cleaning. But this one was just so drastic. And if she had been priced correctly for her condition, I wouldn't have felt as awful as I did. And now it's just a story, so it's okay. It's a story I got to tell and an experience I have to take with me for the rest of my life. And so here's just like, I'll show you the contrast, the difference of how she would have looked when I got her, as opposed to now, where she's got some blushing on her lips and her face. And this is another thing I'm going to include when I get around to that tutorial soon, is what I do to blush up my dolls and give them some color. And everyone's what would you say, style or tactics or whatever will be different, but my method is what I'll show in my tutorial. And so let me show another doll that needs restoration, and I'm saving her for that video, and that's why I haven't touched up on her too much yet. So she's got no color, but she's got beautiful eyes. Like this is the old Kirsten doll, not white body or anything, but she's still got all the Kirstens had lighter eyes back in the Pleasant Company days, but she's not the undead or spooky eyes, because these are a little bit deeper than that. But as you can see, no lip color, no blush color, but she was priced at, she was $10 Canadian. The person who sold her to me was obviously being generous, because, we have a history with doll collecting and selling and everything. And I won't be able to restore her fingers, but she did provide an extra body that if I wanted to just replace the armor, replace the entire body, it's an option. So when I'm done with her, I already do love her. She's not in that rough of condition. Her hair's dry. I haven't even decided what I'm gonna do with her yet, but in the video I'm gonna blush her and show what I do. And so I can't help, but you can't help when you take a doll who you see its potential and you glam it up or you sparkle it up, you can't help but feel a special relationship with it. I don't know how else to put it, because my Felicity, as heartbroken as I was, I feel so attached to her now, and I feel like she's like an accomplishment almost. So I feel very close to that doll. As in, like, I would never want anything she's not the last doll she's not like the first doll I would grab if there was an emergency, you know what I mean? I don't even want to say it out loud, but any kind of emergency. But she still is, considering how I felt when I got her home, there's a personal feeling there now. And yeah, I feel very confident as these being my top 5 favorite things about collecting American Girl. And a lot of them would even transfer over to anything I would collect if they existed in some form, because a lot of these things are just what I love about collecting dolls in the first place. But I'm always on here mostly talking about my American Girl dolls, so that's why I wanted to do a video about this to kick off the new year. And I hope everyone had a fun holiday, however you celebrated. And I hope this next year is even better, or at least better if you didn't have an amazing 2024. I hope this next year is good for you, and I will say thank you for hanging out with me, and I will see you very soon, as always, in the next one.